morning, everybody. It's Doom here from Dungeons and Doom Biscuit, and I think we've wrapped up the Mire of Misery, our swamp stuff. My party in our RPG has actually started doing it yesterday, and there were a lot of things I included. Not yesterday, Friday. There were a lot of things I included in there that I hadn't made any terrain or anything for it. I had to use a little bit of theater of mind and do some creative layout on my table to make it work. And it occurred to me, you can never 100% be prepared for every idea that you'll come up with on the fly. And I could go back in and create the stuff that I had for what I ran, but I basically had a tunnel under town that was like bore out perfectly. It looked like mud, but it was hard like granite, and it was filling up with water the deeper it went. And it was to represent where the Dwarven Guild had dug so much that it started flooding the town. But I never built anything for it, so. Yeah. But what I do want to start is I want to start on something called Crowshriek. Crowshriek is a wild lands, like a plains area, to the west of the town of Berg, and I also want to go back and do some more town of Berg stuff. But Crowshriek is inhabited by feral people called the Wildmen, and many other monsters too. So I don't really have a great grasp of it yet because I just kind of started working on Crowshriek. I better write it down before I forget what it's called because my memory is it's dog shit. Crowshriek. All right. I had another name planned for this area, but I looked it up. I try to look stuff up online, make sure I'm not stealing other people's work and stuff. So I'm not perfect, but I do a decent job of not stealing people's stuff. So Crowshriek, because it is controlled by wild men, it used to be long ago kind of a civilized area, but it's not anymore. So Crowshriek is full of small encampments of these people. They're even though they're wild men, they have some kind of hierarchy. They're controlled by something, and I don't want to get into that yet. But they do work for something. They worship a god, and that's kind of the whole plot of Crowshriek's wild men is they work for this god. They worship this god, and so what I'd like to do is start building some of the terrain for that. And what the wild people do is instead of building a bunch of new structures, they try to take over existing structures. So let's say there was a hut or there was a embattlement or something. They try to build around that and use as much as they can because they're not real civilized. They do craft and stuff, but they're not super advanced, and their weapons are often made out of bones and sticks and stuff like that they can, resources they can get easily, so they don't have to mine and stuff like that. They have swords and stuff sometimes, or axes, but they take those from people they've killed, not so much that they've made them themselves. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to make a small little they decorate the landscape with shrines to their god. So that's what I want to do now is make a shrine or two. I think we'll just start with one. So I just watched a video by Wylock, and I don't watch all his content. I watch some of it occasionally. He uses 2D minis and stuff, and I just don't. Some people like 2D minis. I don't feel like they're not what I need. Did I bring glue down here? Did I forget glue? You son of a bitch. All right. Yeah, I forgot super glue. Oh well. No problem. So let's start out by making the base of the shrine. So let's see what I have around here. So in reality, for Crowshriek, the wild men, they would have taken the remains of a structure or something. So possibly the remnants of the corner of a building or something would have been there. There's actually a smarter way to do this. Oh well, I'm not smart. Oh, so the Wylock video. The reason I bring that up is it's another one of these videos talking about the end of RPG. They always say D&D, but for me, it's not about D&D. It's about RPGs, tabletop RPGs. But they're saying it's the end of tabletop RPG YouTube. Look, I know, like, he's like me. It's one of the reasons I like his channel. He's a regular dude that still has a job and still has, does everything. And then comes and does his YouTube in the evenings, which I really respect that. Oh, hell, that was terrible. I know we all come from different walks of life, and we all do different things. And some people do YouTube professionally, like that's what they do for their living. I understand that. But I like that he's just a regular dude like me. That he's not some fancy, he's kind of famous, but he's not super famous. Some of these people are so famous, that I think they forget that they used to be a dude in their basement like me. And they claim to have invented everything, and I don't even want to get into it. I don't want to disrespect other people. I just have some opinions about YouTube and the way people act on YouTube. So the end of D&D YouTube is what they claim, and he could be right. But here's the secret, guys. You don't get into this if you don't love this, I don't think. You don't start making a channel unless this is like something that you enjoy and something that makes you happy. For me, I absolutely love tabletop role-playing games. This knife is not cutting shit. I just changed blades out. Maybe this foam is old. It is old foam, actually. It's a very old foam now that I think about it. I years ago started cutting up parts for a castle and then never worked on it because I found out you don't really need a castle, which was kind of like, and that's the truth. You don't need a castle. You need maybe embattlements, maybe you need walls. You need some tiles to represent the inside of the rooms of a castle, but you don't need a giant castle. I do have some pretty big structures I've built, though. But you don't need them. You're thinking, Doom, your shit is all tore up, man. Yeah, I know. It's all tore up. I went to work with food poisoning yesterday. I did not make a video last night. I did not feel well at all. I assume it was food poisoning. I did not go to the doctors. But considering that I feel 70% better today already, I'm pretty sure it was food poisoning. Our town had a boil. Well, I think this is what happened. I think we had a boil water notice for our water, and I didn't catch it because I work a lot. And so I made a pot of coffee with regular tap water, and I have a Keurig, and it doesn't actually boil the water. It just kind of, heats it up. So I think what happened is my dumb ass didn't know about the boil order. I made coffee. I drank coffee. I got ill. Seems to be the rational conclusion from what I dealt with. Yeah, this phone is just old or something. It's not cutting nice at all. Unfortunately, that's not going to look the way I want it to because of that. We will make it work. Come on out of there, you bastard. Apparently our Joanne Fabrics is going out of business. It's right across the river, so my wife was there yesterday. She is not happy. I really don't care. I don't think Joann's is that good. It's hit or miss. And the only thing I really ever bought there was like plastic animals and shit, so. I can't believe I didn't bring that glue down. It really bothers me. Probably left it sitting on the oven. Stove or whatever. Okay. Now, oh, I should have textured all that. Oh well. Nothing little magic can't fix, right? So I think I was looking at nature. I was like, I drive a lot for work. And I don't think nature is as dark as we portray it. For example, I think that you could probably paint something light gray or light brown or tan and make a ton of washes on it and get a more realistic look than you can painting something black and dry brushing it down. That might be my new technique. All right, so that'll be the remaining of the remainder of the building, and then we'll start building our shrine there. So I think what they probably would do, I'm guessing, is they would probably stack up some stones. I think it's called cairn stones. There are a lot of cultures on Earth that have done this. There are Scandinavian cultures that have done this. There are Hawaiian cultures that have done this. Like these cairn stones. I don't know what they call them in every culture. I don't think it's probably the same, but there's definitely, you know, some precedent for this kind of behavior. Now, do they do it for religious worship or for to decorate their deads where their dead are? I don't know. I'm not an expert, but now I would also guess that these wild men protect these areas where their worship sites are, and they probably have like larger temple ideas too. I don't know yet. I'm still kind of developing what the wild men do, but logically, I would say that they have these worship sites around celebrating their dark god, and then they probably also have a bigger temple somewhere. Maybe an ancient temple from some other god that they took over. I can't claim to know yet because I just kind of came up with the idea today. Well, that's not 100% true. The Crowshriek thing, the Wildman was today. The Crowshriek, this whole zone we're in here, this whole area to the west of town has been kind of ongoing for a few days. I've been thinking about it, maybe a week. And tomorrow comes doom in my system. There's a race of people called the Bovinians. They're essentially like size medium minotaurs. and they are fun. They like jokes, and they don't really forge metal and stuff. They will trade for metal. They make a fermented milk that gets you stoned, and they tell jokes. And like they tell like jokes that like, you know, aren't even really that funny for kids, you know. And they laugh maniacally because they just think they're really funny, and they appreciate friendship, and they live, you know, and they're peaceful. They're not like you would think, you know, being like they look like minotaurs, but they're peaceful, and they do go to war and stuff because they will protect their lands and their people, but they don't want war if they can avoid it. All right, so we need like an animal head now, and we need like something like a gazelle or a deer or something. Something like that. Let me get some snippers. Something like this. Now, these are made out of stone, these top parts, these animal heads. However, people that know about the wild men, which are predominantly just people in this area that kind of study them and are interested in how they became wild, you know. But because they have stuff in their culture that indicates they probably have not always been wild men. But they don't have the technology to carve stone precisely and beautifully like they do, like these animal heads are on these shrines. They just don't have that. So the thought is that either they found them and that's why they worship this god, or somebody has given them these, or whatever it may be. Or maybe there was a bunch of statues of this in this area when they took it over, or when they evolved into what they are. No one really knows. There's a lot of conjecture, and until you get further into the whole Crowshriek area lore and you start exploring here and learning about stuff, and maybe talk to scholars or whatever it may be, you're not going to know a lot about it. So something like that. And then the last thing I want to do is I want to have a couple pikes. Because they would display their victims. People that have besmirched the good name of their god. I'm going to use a barbecue skewer and a toothpick, just so there's a little bit of variety there. Now there's also going to be some offerings. I thought I had some push pins. Push pins are good for making little plates and bowls and stuff. I don't have anything good laying around for that. So here's what we can do. We can put some stuff on here to be like little vases and little pots of offerings. Yeah, I just lost that little teeny bead. All right, that'll work, I guess. I really don't like using little beads like this and stuff because I don't even know where I got half this stuff to tell you where to go get it if you wanted it. I'd much rather have little plates. You know what? I think I took those push pins upstairs for something else. That was a mistake. That'll learn me. Oh, come here, you little bastard. Alright, let's hope I have enough super glue down here to get shit done. I have this little tube, which I can't open. Awesome. Alright. Oh, crap. Alright, no problem. We got this. Oh, a little scrap of garbage goes a long way. I think this had a knife in it or something. Oh, did you see that, Swain? Am I out of white glue? No, I got more upstairs. All right. I'd like to get a couple of these chunks of bricks. Show that the the walls that have fallen down, that they haven't moved them. They might have stole some of them to use to make something, but for the most part they leave this stuff. So when you talk about Crowshriek, one of the big things that locals would say, they used to be called the King's Plain centuries ago, but now the king doesn't care about these lands and doesn't. They were his private, one of his ancestors' private hunting grounds, but now they're just kind of ignored. But if you were to talk about Crowshriek, one of the main things people would talk about would be like cannibalism. The wild men are known cannibals. Some people call them the feral folk, but most people just call them the wild men. And their culture, upon contact, appears to be predominantly male somehow. Like if you were to see them, you almost always would see male. So either their females don't come out and about, or they don't have many, or maybe because of how ferocious their society is, some of the females don't survive. There have been churches have done outreaches, like the temples of the gods of light, or what's called Circle of Light in my world, or whatever. They've reached out and tried to like get these people to come and like join the church and learn how to read and write and stuff like that. But the wild men just don't have an interest in it, and they'll attack everybody on sight pretty much. It's just a kind of a thing with them. This is just homemade flock that I made out of sawdust and some paint and rubbing alcohol. If you know any of those old head war gamers, they knew all the tricks. You know, like we ever hung out in game stores, they knew all the tricks of how to make everything cheap. Well, a lot of these products, like unless it was like Woodland Scenics back then, I don't think there were a lot of companies selling this stuff. Honestly, I don't really remember that well. Because I was a kid, but those old head war gamers, and like when I joined the Army, I knew a bunch of war gamers too that taught me a bunch of stuff about making like giant tactical boards and stuff too. Something like that. So I'm going to dry this off. and I'm going to base coat it, and then we'll come back and paint our shrine to the unseen god. So, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell icon, leave a comment. That'd be amazing. If you could do all that for me. Check out the website and buy some minis if you can. If you can't, we understand. If you're going to buy some minis, I would hold off a day or two, because I hear rumor that we're about to put a discount code up for a big sale. And I'd like you to save a couple bucks buying minis if you could. Also, join us on Discord and have some comments and conversation and play some games and stuff there. And otherwise, I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.